how you doing? Justin here. That was my little version of Little Wing by Jimi Hendrix. Nowhere near as good as his, of course, but Jimi Hendrix is a pretty hard guy to copy, which is why Jimi Hendrix is God. So in this lesson we're going to be learning this tune, or the intro to this tune. I'll talk about the chords as well a little bit at the end, just if you want to have a go at playing through the whole song. The original one is tuned down a semitone, so if you want to play along with the record, you have to tune your guitar down by one semitone, meaning that you would tune your thickest string to an E flat, and A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, and E flat again for the remainder of the strings, of course. Probably want to use a tuner for that, but just to keep things simple for this lesson, I've left the guitar in regular tuning. If you want to play along with the record in regular tuning, there's a great bit of software called Transcribe, which you might want to have a look at. There's links to it on my website, because that tunes it up to the normal pitch, so you don't have to retune your guitar every time you want to play along with it. It's a pretty nifty bit of kit. Anyway, let's get stuck into doing the tune. So I'm going to break it down bit by bit and talk about what's going on. The first little bit doesn't really require a close-up, so I'm just going to do that at this wide angle, and we'll go to a close-up when we need to. So it starts off with a little muted hit and a slide back from the 12th fret. Now I'm going to use my first finger, so I'm just using my first finger to bar the thinnest 4 strings at the 12th fret, and the rest of my hand's kind of gripping around. A lot of the Henrix style has got this kind of the thumb hanging over, and you're going to be playing quite a few notes in this with your thumb, so it's a technique well worth practicing if you want to get into your Jimi Hendrix style stuff. Not a bad plan might be to check out my videos on Jimi Hendrix style rhythm guitar as well, because there's a lot of information on those videos about how to bring the thumb over in a good way, how to make it comfortable. Do expect a little bit of pain inside your thumb when you first start. I've just been on holiday for 3 weeks, so my thumb feels a little bit raw from playing this, so I've had to practice it because it's a bit of a sticky tune, this one. Anyway, so thumb reaching over, grabbing the guitar neck, and first finger, 12th fret, thinnest 4 strings. Now once you've put your finger down like that, you relax that first finger and put the rest of your hand on to get a hit, and you're just hitting all of the strings. They should all be muted by the fingers on the guitar, all laid down but not pressing down the strings, just sort of sitting on top of the strings to mute them. So that's a down strum. Then press the first finger down and do an up strum and slide it back. Pretty straightforward. Just try and get used to it. You know, each one of these little things is a good skill to get down, so try and practice each little bit one at a time is what I'd recommend. There's a tab for this on the website as well. If you go to JustinGuitar.com, go to the songs section, there'll be a little hand-drawn tab thing of the transcription I've done of it, which is what I look at down here, just to make sure I don't miss out any bits as I'm explaining it to you, in case you're wondering why I keep looking down here. Okay, a lot of talking so far. Sorry for the people who don't like me talking so much. Yeah, so we got, and at the end of that you're just hitting the thickest E string there. As you've slid your hand down, try and leave it so the rest of your fingers are all kind of muting the other strings. So when you hit that low E string, you don't have to be too fussy about just trying to hit that one string. You're just hitting down, and the rest of your fingers are muting all of the strings except that thickest string. So that kind of helps you get that nice punchy sound there, because a lot of the Henrix style is the way he plays. He's quite heavy picker, he plays really hard, and you only kind of get that sound like him if you kind of dig in a bit. So after that low E string, his hand's around the 5th fret, I think it kind of sounds like to me anyway, and he's doing just another 2 mutes with the fingers all grabbing around the strings. If you experiment with moving your hand around different parts of the neck, you'll notice it does sound a little bit different depending where you put your fingers. And I'm fairly sure that he's got his hand around the 5th fret somewhere. Of course I don't know for sure, but you know, that's my guess. So that very first bit, sorry, that's the second bit. The very first bit, that's it, pretty straightforward. Now the next little section, we're going to play the open A string, open, and hammer the second finger down on the 2nd fret of the A string. And then we're plucking the open G string. Pretty straightforward. Open A, 2nd finger hammers down 2nd fret, and then we play the open G string, which is the 3rd string. Then we move up the neck quite quickly, and we're jumping right up to the 5th fret. So this is a little bit tricky to get that jump smooth enough. To get the transition fast enough can be a little bit sticky, but again, it's not too hard, just takes a bit of practice. Now, when we get up to here to the 5th fret, we're playing the 4th and 5th strings at the same time, and hammering down our 3rd finger in the 7th fret of the 5th string. And then playing the 5th fret on the 3rd and 4th strings, still with the 1st finger. I'm going to go to a close-up of this in a sec. You play that. And then we've got, again, the 3rd finger hammering down on the 7th fret of the 4th string. And that's got a little bit of a gliss off the end of that as well. So that the first line of my transcription has got this. You hear that little gliss at the end? Just sliding back, getting into position for the next section. So that's the first line. I'm going to go to a close-up now and explain the next little sections in close-up, because I think in the wide angle like this you probably won't get too much for it. Okay, the very beginning of that tune then, in a close-up here now. First finger covering the thinnest 4 strings, all of the other fingers down to cover and mute them. The first hit. And then you can see I just lifted my fingers off, slid the first finger back so you get that nice little gliss effect. Open E string. You can see all of my fingers there are covering all of the strings except for that thickest string, which we hit. Then hand moves up to around the 5th fret, 2 muted hits. Then we've got the next section here, we're playing the open A string, hammering the 2nd finger down into the 2nd fret of the 5th string, then playing the G string, which is this one here, the 3rd string, open. Just get a little bit closer for that one so you can see what's going on now. I'm kind of putting my hands in a funny way just so you can see clearly what's going on. What I'm holding down is these 2 strings, but I'm doing it just with my 1st finger, and I'm hammering that 3rd finger down, trying not to hit the 4th string with my 3rd finger, so you get the 2 notes ringing out together. And then I'm holding these 2 with the 1st finger. And again, hammering that 3rd finger down there. Let's have a look at that little 2nd section of the 1st line. Okay, and then we're into the fun part now, which is the kind of the main part of the tune. So we've got this. That's the first little section. So what's happening here is the thumb slides up to the 3rd fret, play the open G quietly, then the thinnest 3 strings, and that's the 1st finger there covering the top 2 strings, and we're playing the open G. So you're holding these 1st finger down like a little bar, 3rd finger is hammering onto the 5th fret, then flicking off, then playing the thinnest string again, and 3rd finger's then reaching over to the 5th fret of the 4th string, which is the note G, which can be played open, but I'm pretty sure it sounds like it's fretted on the way Henrix plays it.